members to come. We have a couple flight delays, but we will begin as a subcommittee. We have 20 bills on file, 7 of which are eligible with due pass motion. The remaining bills are suspense items. If anyone is here to testify on AB 517, Gallagher, or 531, and AB 566 from O'Donnell, those bills will be rescheduled for next week's hearing. I would like to remind the audience and our members of the Assembly that in Senate Appropriations Committee, we only limit the discussion on fiscal aspects of the bill, given that your bill already received a proper policy hearing. Please refrain from any lengthy policy discussions. I will cut you off if that's the case. Sergeants, if you can please call the absent members. The following authors who are presenting bills so we can get started and finish before our 12 o'clock session. We have Assembly members Dodd, Linder, Cooley, Melendez, Eggman, and Wood. We also have suspense bills that are being presented on by Senator Brown and Beth Gaines. I also want to take a quick second before we begin. I wanted to take a minute to recognize one of our consultants today, Maureen Ortiz's final committee hearing today, as she is retiring after serving in the Senate and for the people of California for the past 34 years. 22 of those years. 22 of those years, members have been with the Appropriations Committee, which makes her the longest serving consultant in the history of Appropriations Committee. In the meantime, in that time, she has written analysis on thousands of bills over hundreds of hearings and prepared 9 committee chairs for 44 suspense file hearings, not that I was keeping note, all while raising 2 children and seeing them both through college graduation. Please join me in congratulating Maureen on her stellar public service career and wishing her all the best in her retirement from the Senate. We will be holding a reception in Maureen's honor tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 5 in the committee's office room, 2206. And to wish her well, let's give her another round of applause. Thank you, Maureen. We will begin.
Not even a gray hair, Mr. Chairman.
Not one.
How did you do that?
Not one. Oh, we actually do have a quorum, so Secretary, please call the roll.
Laura?
Here.
Laura, here. Bates? Bell? Hill? Hill, here. Leyva? Leyva, here. Mendoza? Nielsen? Nielsen, here.
Mendoza, here. Perfect. We will begin with the Senator Linder, who was here on time, I might add. Thank you. Oh, I know, but we reward timeliness in this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. AB 794 will protect volunteer animals that are being used under the direct supervision of a peace officer. Currently, there's no extra protection in the penal code that specifically protects these volunteer animals. The fiscal cost of this bill is moderate and will only affect the state if someone violates the new addition to Penal Code 600 and has to be incarcerated. Though if incarcerated, a fee will be imposed on the perpetrator, and the fee would cover the cost of his or her incarceration. AB 794 will ensure that those who volunteer their time to help protect their communities will also have protection for their animals.
Witnesses in support.
Mr. Chair and members, Matthew Seiberling on behalf of the Riverside Sheriff's Association believe these animals deserve equal protection as their sworn counterparts and urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Additional witnesses in support.
Sylvia Solisha on behalf of the Board of Supervisors of Sonoma County in support.
John Lovell on behalf of the California Police Chiefs Association in support.
Thank you, Mr. Lovell. Any additional witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Finance.
Jacqueline Wong Hernandez with the Department of Finance. The Department of Finance is opposed to this measure because by creating a new misdemeanor, it could lead to additional cases entering the court system, increasing the statewide adult jail population and impacting the ability of counties to manage their offender population. As you know, we're very concerned about imposing new costs and workload on counties, which could create additional fiscal pressure on the local criminal justice system.
Thank you. Comments or questions from committee? Senator Nielsen.
Senator Linder, you said that this is the perpetrator that abused the animal would be assessed with a fee, or is it a fine?
It would be a criminal penalty.
Okay, that's got it. Okay, that's,
It's a fine. Any additional comments or questions from committee? There's a motion by Senator Leyva. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Laura? Aye. Laura, aye. Bates? Bell? Hill? Hill, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Mendoza, aye. Nielsen? Nielsen, aye.
We're 5-0. Senator Linder, we're going to keep that open to allow Senator Bates to add
Thank you,
on.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Brown. Senator Brown, you have two items, AB 448 and ACR 38, both candidates for suspense. Why don't we begin with AB 448?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members. Since the passage of AB 1602 of 2006, cities such as Fontana, San Jose, San Ramon, Santa Clara have annexed uninhabited areas of previously unincorporated counties. Unfortunately, in 2011, the legislature took away the VLF funds to fund the law enforcement grants. The 2011 state budget shifted $137 million from local governments' MVLA revenues to public safety and has disproportionately impacted communities in the Inland Empire. For example, the city of Fontana, located in my district, has lost $800,000 as a result of SB 89. AB 448 will restore funding to cities that were negatively affected by SB 89 and help them sustainably plan for the future. I ask that you would reconsider and consider this as it goes into suspense.
Got it. Thank you. Witnesses in support.
John Lovell with the California Police Chiefs Association. We're in strong support of this. The fiscal impact on cities that had annexed property during a discrete period was disproportionate, and it has caused public safety negative impacts.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Finance.
We don't have a position on this bill, but we do estimate that the bill could have a sizable state general fund impact. The actual fiscal impact is currently unquantifiable since it will depend on the extent to which cities expand their boundaries in the future to include currently unincorporated territory. We have a general fund cost estimate in the tens of millions of dollars per year. The annual fund or the annual cost would grow based on the change in assessed valuation for the property tax purposes within each of the new incorporated areas. We'd also point out that this bill is nearly identical to AB 1521 from last year that was vetoed by the governor.
Thank you. Comments or questions from committee? Would you like to close, Senator Brown?
I respectfully ask for your support as this goes to suspense and realize that we've lost 5 officers in an area that absolutely needs the police.
Thank you. Without objection, this bill will move to suspense. Your next item is ACR 38. Floor is yours.
Okay. ACR 38 would establish the California Task Force on Family Caregiving to, 1, examine issues relative to the challenges faced by family caregivers and opportunities to improve caregiver support. Would also review the current network and services and supports available to caregivers. And it would also provide policy recommendations to the legislature by 2018. ACR 38 would not, and I say it again, would not use 1 penny of state funds. I would like to introduce Dr. Nina Weller-Hartware, who's the Associate Director of Advocacy for AARP, and she will speak on support.
Witnesses in support.
Good morning. I'm Nina Weiler-Harwell. Just want to hit on some really quick points about this. ACR 38 is a public-private partnership which will not use general fund dollars. We have secured the support of the University of Southern California Leonard Davis School of Gerontology to help with the coordination and logistics of the task force. They are also doing fundraising in the amount of $360,000. Foundations have expressed strong support in funding the operations of the task force, and that will include AARP. We respectfully request your aye vote on ACR 38.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Finance.
This resolution does not result in any additional state costs, both because it lacks force of law and because it prohibits the use of state funds specifically in it.
Comments or questions from committee? Seeing hearing none, Senator Brown would like to close.
I just ask for you, as you consider this going into suspense, that you would understand the issues that are faced by caregivers in our community and in our state. It's very important that we come out of the silos and that we start looking at these issues that are affecting the aged population.
Senator Brown, I know you closed, but I want to ask, so you said we've identified private monies for this?
Yes, all private money.
And do we have any letter of confirmation of this funding?
Well, we have to talk to Foundation. Someone's going to confirm that they are funding until it passes.
So maybe we could
But
do
there are
that during
conversations.
the suspense.
Well, they want to know that before they step up to the plate, they want to know that it's going to pass.
Well,
It can't be
we want the
used,
money before we get, no, I'm joking.
but it can't go forward if the money is not
Let's continue
there.
the conversation as it is.
But it's really I'm telling you, caregivers are near to my heart because I come up here every week to do the business here, and I'm a caregiver on the weekend. I know what we need.
Thank you. Without objection, this item will be moved to the suspense file.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Dodd. Senator Dodd, you have AB 296 members. There's a due-pass recommendation. Senator Dodd.
Thank you,
the
Chair
floor is
Lara
yours.
and committee members. Assembly Bill 296 would extend a sunset date to continue existing authority for local governments to recover costs associated with the administration of annual device registration program through 2019 while freezing the cap at the current levels. All local consumer protection inspection activity is funded entirely by registration fees and does not affect our state general fund. Without the authority to collect these fees, however, inspections would be significantly curtailed, compromising consumer protection and market competition. Thank you.
Witnesses in support.
Mr. Chair and members, Matthew Seiberling on behalf of the California Agricultural Commissioners and Sealers Association, who are sponsoring the bill. It's a critical consumer protection program. Make sure you get what you pay for and urge your aye vote. Thank you.
Steve Wallach on behalf of the Ventura County Board of Supervisors, also in support.
Sylvia Solisha on behalf of the Board of Supervisors of Placer County and on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco and the Office of Mayor Ed Lee in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. Finance.
According to the California Department of Food and Agriculture, this bill would extend their authority to impose an annual administrative fee on registered commercial devices that would result in approximately $680,000 annual general fund liability, absent this extension. And as the author noted, it also extends counties' ability to charge fees to cover their costs.
So is that a support?
We don't have a formal position.
Sounded to me like it was a support. Comments or questions from committee? Senator Nielsen.
Chairman, Assemblyman Dodd, this would seem like a bill that CSAC would be up here supporting. Individual counties have spoken, but where's CSAC on this?
I can't believe they wouldn't be supportive of it. I know that our office has been in touch with CSAC. Obviously, this allows, 58 sealers of weights and measures to be able to continue their work. I think we heard from individual counties, but to be quite frank with you, I don't know where they are today.
They sure as heck ought to be here. Their absence is noted by me.
Thank you, sir.
If anybody ought to be going to bat for this bill, that ought to be CSAC, and maybe they're too busy doing something else today, I guess.
Any additional comments or questions on the item? There's a motion by Senator Leyva. Senator Dodd, would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Laura?
Aye.
Laura, I. Bates? Bell? Bell, I. Hill? Hill, I. Leyva? Leyva, I. Mendoza? Mendoza, I. Nielsen? Nielsen, I.
6-0, Assemblymember Dodd. We're going to keep that roll open to allow our vice chair to add on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members.
Assemblymember Cooley. Senator Cooley has AB 925. It doesn't have a due pass recommendation. Senator Cooley, the floor is yours. Yes, it does. I can't change my mind, though.
Colleagues, I bring this measure to you this morning, AB 924, principally because of the importance of the issue in my history. California started funding child abuse prevention programs in 1982 by the adoption of AB 17.
Senator Dodd, I don't think your microphone's working. What's going on? Budget cuts? Should be working. Let me see. No, you turned it off. Press it again. There we go. There we go.
There we go. We got a mic here.
Wait, did I press it?
Colleagues,
There you go.
good morning, colleagues. I'm pleased to present to you today Assembly Bill 924. This bill will reinstate the Children's Trust Fund as a donation option for persons on the state income tax. I put this bill in part because in 1982, when I was young in my career in this building, I worked on AB 1733, which established a child abuse and neglect funding for the first time in California. That stream of revenue has been very important to the evolution and the growth and strengthening over time in all of our counties of child abuse prevention programs. It's been on the books a long time. Each year, the level at which donations are required to come in on the tax form gets increased by cost of living. And in the 2014, it did not meet the threshold. So this bill simply reinstates it to the threshold that all get when they start out, $250,000, and based on prior levels of giving, it would meet that threshold. So this is a very important source of funding. It funds a substantial amount of the child abuse prevention programs in California, a very important investment in the well-being of our children. I have with me today Sheila Boxley, who's with the California Child Abuse Prevention Council, an organization that actually has its roots in AB 1733 of 1982. So I just wanted to present that bill because of its importance to our state's children.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Yes, I'm Sheila Boxley with the Child Abuse Prevention Center, and I just wanted to let you know that while we understand that there is about an $8,000 potential cost to processing the fund, the cost to keep one child out of the child welfare system with effective programming is about $1,200 per year. So that's equivalent to 6 cases. However, the Centers for Disease Control estimates that it's $124,000 once a child enters the system. So while this fund is very small, it can save a lot of children and a lot of families.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support of the measure. Witnesses in opposition. Finance.
The Department of Finance is opposed to this bill. As was noted by the author, it was removed from the income tax return because contributions for it fell below the required minimum amount in 2014. And it's not clear if the same checkoff will generate the required contributions when it failed to meet that requirement in the past. This is lowering the threshold to allow it to start over, basically. We also note that there's nothing currently preventing California taxpayers from contributing directly to the cause without reinstating the tax checkoff.
Thank you. Comments or questions from committee? Is there a motion? There's a motion by Senator Leyva. Yeah. Mr. Cooley, would you like to close?
Well, just thank you very much for your time this morning. I do note that the most recent level of giving exceeds the threshold that we would start out with this. So and it is a cost-effective source, but of course, I vote.
Thank you. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Laura?
Aye.
Laura, I. Bates? Bell? Bell, I. Hill? Hill, I. Leyva? Leyva, I. Mendoza? Mendoza, I. Nielsen? Nielsen, I.
Thank you, Mr. Cooley. We will keep that roll open to allow our vice chair to add on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
See Assemblywoman Eggman. Eggmeister. It is on.
I hope this will be so quick, I won't even have time to sit.
Members, this is item AB 1083. Assemblywoman Eggman, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for hearing this very small district bill that I'm presenting to you today. This bill would allow the city of Stockton to enter into a contract with the FPPC to enforce campaign finance rules. Currently, there are no limits for the city of Stockton, and as we come out of bankruptcy and continue to recover and get on firm financial foundation, we think it's the city of Stockton is considering and would like to be able to enter into a contract with FPPC. So just like San Bernardino does, they're entering their next year. They would reimburse the cost. They don't have the infrastructure, and our county DA has a lot more things to do than do campaign finance, and so this would just allow them, City of Stockton, if they so choose, to enter into a contract with the FPPC to enforce campaign finance, just like we have here at the state level, and I thank you in advance for your aye vote.
Thank you. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Finance?
We're neutral on this bill because it would allow the FPPC to efficiently and effectively implement and enforce a local campaign finance reform ordinance in the city of Stockton if they enter into that agreement.
Thank you. Comments or questions from committee? So motion by Senator Leyva. Ms. Segman, would you like to close?
Thank you.
Great close. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Laura?
Aye.
Laura, I. Bates? Bell? Bell, I. Hill? Hill, I. Leyva? Leyva, I. Mendoza? Nielsen? Nielsen, I.
We are 5-0. We'll keep the roll open.
Thank you very much.
Senator Wood? Come on down. You're the next contestant.
Hopefully the price is right.
This is AB 1262. It does have a due pass recommendation. Mr. Wood, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senators. The California Advanced Services Fund was created in 2007 to promote deployment of high-quality communication like broadband to the entire state. As work continues to progress in achieving greater broadband expansion, it is important to continue the state's commitment to help ensure universal access to basic telecommunications such as broadband. When the fund was first created, the legislature recognized the need to provide specific funding to consortia. With that, $10 million was deposited into the Rural and Urban Regional Broadband Consortia grant account. Unfortunately, the account is about to be exhausted. If more funds are not made available, many rural and urban consortia in my district and throughout the state will no longer be able to provide the services to advocate basic broadband. AB 1262 allows a $5 million transfer from the Broadband Infrastructure Revolving Loan Account to the rural to be used in the Urban Regional Broadband Consortia grant account. This will provide 2 additional years of funding to promote CASA for years to come. As the analysis points out, special funds of $130,000 will be used for administration. Here in support, regional consortiums throughout the state. I'll hand off.
Thank you. Witnesses in support.
Kathy Emerson, I'm the consortia lead for the Upstate and Northeastern California Regional Broadband Consortia planning efforts, and I've been doing this for 6 years.
Additional witnesses in support.
Randy Wagner from the Sierra Economic Development Corporation, also the chair of the Gold Country Broadband Consortium. Strongly urge your support for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support, please come forward.
Sylvia Solisha on behalf of the county board of, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors for the counties of Nevada, Shasta, and Kern. We are in strong support of the work that the consortium is doing. We support this funding. Thank you.
Steve Wallach on behalf of the Ventura County Board of Supervisors in support.
Carlos Machado with California School Board Association in support.
Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the Utility Reform Network, or TURN, in support of the bill.
Michael Minkus with the California Public Utilities Commission in support.
Tammy Cronin on behalf of the Capital Area Broadband Consortia in support.
Additional witnesses in support. Witnesses in opposition. In opposition?
Support.
Support, come forward.
Patrick Guild with the Northern California Broadband Consortium in support.
Thank you. Witnesses in opposition. Finance.
We don't have a formal position on this bill. We note that in effect it extends CASA by increasing the allocation by $5 million through an internal reallocation within PUC.
Thank you. Mr. Wood, would you like to close?
Just respectfully ask for your support.
Thank you. There's a motion by Senator Leyva. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Senate floor. Laura? Aye. Laura, aye. Bates? Bell? Bell, aye. Hill? Aye. Hill, aye. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Nielsen?
Aye.
Nielsen, aye.
5-0. We'll keep the roll open. Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Thank you very much.